Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing?
I am chilling amongst the highest of orders.
Same here, same here. So we do have a new movie to talk about. It's not one of the big ones yet, but Netflix did release a movie with a big star, I would say. I kind of consider Jake Gyllenhaal a big star. I don't know about you, Mike.
Yeah, he's definitely earned a high title for
Hmm.
himself. I mean, the man can act.
Oh, he can, absolutely. But he is in a remake of a Danish film called Guilty. This was a film directed by the guy from Training Day. As we all know, we don't know him by his real name. Everyone knows him by the guy who made Training Day.
Yeah,
And they made this I think they said they made this film in about a week. They filmed it in a week last year under COVID conditions. So that's why when you watch the film, well, it's also because it's part of the plot. It all takes place in what, two rooms? Three if you count the bathroom?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. This will include full spoilers, but the long and the short of it is Jake Gyllenhaal fucked up on the job. He
Big
was,
time.
I guess, demoted to the call center. Because
Yeah,
I don't want to say demotion because I feel like that's an insult to the people that actually do the job and have to deal with people screaming on the phone.
well,
He's being
yeah,
punished. He's being all right. He's
it's
on
not that he's being punished, he's just taken off the street, so
he's
to
on
speak.
desk duty. He's on a
Yeah,
form of desk duty. That's it.
correct. Because of an action that he did.
Yes.
Essentially, we still don't know the circumstances of what he did, funny enough.
No, we only have an idea of it.
Yeah, all you know is he killed a 19-year-old kid who he originally thought was hurting someone, but made a bad judgment call
Hmm.
and ended up killing the kid. That's pretty much as far as we know about it.
Yeah,
And it looks like it was in a little bit of the colder blood.
it does. But he receives a call from a screen, a lady that's panicking, and it looks like she's kidnapped. It looks like she's been kidnapped by her husband or ex-husband, who looks to be abusive. But then let's just say it goes off the rails almost right off the bat. But Mike, what do you think about the movie? I mean, it's it's a unique one. I'd give it that.
It absolutely is. I watched it a couple times just to make sure I actually understood what was going on because sometimes these movies you kind of have to. I thought it was good at first, but nothing special. But once I rewatched it a second time, I think I appreciated it a little bit more solely to the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal's acting is what the whole movie is, and he did a tremendous job going through his own grief in the role, and there's no action in it. It's all just him using his face to act, right? So it was especially like when he realized, oh shit, I fucked up again, that the woman actually was taken by her ex-husband because she attempted to kill one of her children because she was mentally unstable. And this whole time, Jake Gyllenhaal is talking shit to this guy who's an ex-con, saying how he should be fucking killed, only to come to the
Very
realization,
unprofessional manship,
oh
by the
yeah,
way.
yes, only to come to this guy is completely innocent. Jake Gyllenhaal threatened to lock him up in this, so only made him nervous. And it was the dude's wife that tried to kill his son, and he was just freaking out because he didn't know what to do. He didn't want her to go to jail because he still loved her. And yeah, it was just a crazy kind of plot twist towards the end there.
Yeah, I would say the twist itself, that I will say how had they explained the story and as they went along, I thought it was well done. And I thought it was realistic because if you put yourself in Jake Gyllenhaal's shoes, you're looking up information on this guy, you're trying to get all the information you can. It does not look good for him. He has a history of violence. He's been in jail. So obviously then you'll let your bias take over and be like, well, obviously he is the abuser, right?
Yeah,
Kidnapping the wife,
because
probably roughed her up a few times. Yeah.
it plays all the standard tropes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Took her, when he's calling the kids, it's like, oh, they just left. It's like, oh, so now you're taking the wife away from her kids and all that. It's definitely very much, I think, well told. And I will say the twist got me. I didn't see that coming. Like I thought they were going to try and play this mostly straight because
Yeah,
up until the twist, the only unique thing about this movie was that it took place like all on the phone. That's it. Like it's kind of a standard crime story, right? Abusive husband takes the wife, leaves the kids, gonna
This is true.
kill her somewhere. It's a standard story. It's nothing new.
Also, I think we have to give props to the woman on the other end of the phone.
Mhm.
Uh, that was some pretty fucking solid voice acting, if you ask me, there, Chief.
Yeah, yeah,
Because how she like went from completely coherent into there's something off about her in a matter of seconds.
yeah. First half, she sounded almost completely normal in a panicked sort of way, like she's being kidnapped. But in
Yeah, but
that sense, she sounded normal.
the first slip is when she started talking about the aquarium.
Mm.
And it's funny how I feel like maybe Jake Gyllenhaal's character was just ignoring that, but that was like the way she was talking about. You're like, wait a minute, lady, what's going on? You're afraid for your life, and then all of a sudden you're just so calm and saying things that are basically hinting towards death itself. The calmness, the stillness, but that's
Yeah,
also maybe because he didn't want to see it that way.
I mean maybe, but I mean that's one way of looking at it. But also, I don't think like I think kind of connecting it to what happened to the baby, which
Yeah,
is
that's fucked.
completely fucked up. I mean, I think one of the getting into one of the issues I have with the film is they should have left the baby dead. I did not that second twist at the end. I did not like.
Yeah, just because it made it seem very unrealistic.
Well, not only unrealistic, but like I think it's too happy of an ending. Like they were very realistic, very gritty about the case up until
This
the
is
end,
true.
where magically Jake Gyllenhaal is able to convince her to not jump. The cops are able to get her magically because he was able to send the cops over in time to the house. Baby's in the ICU, and he's going to force himself to get justice for the kid he murdered. So it kind of took me out of it. That of the 90-minute movie, 70, 80
Yeah.
minutes was all realistic, and then it's just like, oh, happy ending. I mean, as happy as it
Yeah,
could be, but still, it's pretty upbeat.
you are kind of accurate with that sense because it besides, his character decided to do the right thing at the end, saying, maybe I should pay for my crimes against this kid. Besides him actually taking a bad ending for himself, the movie overall didn't end terribly, like with a bad outcome, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, the husband's alive. He won't go to jail. The mother wife will obviously get some kind of treatment. The
Uh,
baby could make it from the
I'll
ICU.
I'll tell you what though, that father was trying to get custody before. I think he's got it now.
He better. All he has to do is show up in court and just hand him the custody papers. There should be no trial,
Issue
no
with that
nothing.
whatsoever. Like, yeah, honestly, I think we fucked up in the beginning giving her custody, but
Mhm.
yeah, our bad.
My baby's intestines were ripped out, and you're saying you're bad? That's it?
Yeah, and that's kind of what pulls you out of the movie too, because and even if it's like a toddler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's not say it's a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's a toddler because we don't know the age of this child either.
No, just a baby in a crib. Could be 6 months, could be 10 months, a year.
Shit, it could be 24 months the way some people talk about kids.
That's true.
So, regardless, a very young human
Mm-hmm.
life with their intestines out does not bode well
No, even
for
for like
survival.
a proper adult, if their intestines are hanging out, that is a serious injury where there's a decent chance they could die. They could be completely fine after surgery and stuff, but there's a decent chance of them dying. An infant has their intestines hanging out
Yeah,
and they're in the ICU. Come on.
yeah, that's kind of done for. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I
Wish it
will give them
wasn't that
props
way, but
for the how they described the issue, all the blood on the girls on the other kid's shirt, the cops freaking out over the phone.
yeah, that
Like
was
they
some
really sold
solid
how
acting
fucked
right
up that
there.
was.
It's true.
Which does make it worse that the baby lived. I think because they really sold how tragic this was. Jake Gyllenhaal was throwing shit around the desk because obviously you got to do that at some point.
That's pretty much what he's known for these days.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
well,
I'm playing a cop. Can I throw shit off a desk? Yeah, I don't see why not. All right, sign me up.
I do wonder now if any movie now that hires Jake Gyllenhaal to play an authority figure, do they just have like a desk budget for items to be broken from him? Like that's just an item in the budget.
I'll tell you what, though, we should have invested in Staples because if they're going to Staples, man, all the office supplies they're getting trashed. Some
Oh,
good
Jake
money in
Gyllenhaal
there.
showed up. Oh shit.
Oh fuck!
He's taking all the
Get all the
supplies.
staplers. Get all the staplers. Get all of them.
Get the scotch tape.
But yeah, overall, movie's pretty solid.
It is.
Besides its few flaws,
Mhm.
there's really not too much to complain about in this movie, if you ask me.
I mean, I will give it another complaint though.
Well, let me hear it.
Jake Gyllenhaal, great acting, and I kind of blame this more for the script. Toward the end, I was getting real tired of him as he's on the phone with someone, be it the cops at the kid's house or his partner that's like breaking into the husband's house, and they're like reacting. He's like, "What? What do you see? What is it,
Yeah,
dude? It's a voice call. It's not FaceTime. Okay, give them a minute to process what's happening at the house. I know you're excited, but I don't need to hear this 20 times on a phone call."
it's true. That's probably why the one lady kept hanging up on him.
Yeah, she was kind of a bitch, but I kind of got her point of view. He just kept calling him like demanding answers. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, she's like, hey pal, did you find more answers? Because we sure as hell didn't.
No, why didn't you find answers? Click.
It's like, hey, she even said it like, do you have something else? No. So why are you calling me?
Also, I felt the backdrop of LA being on fire was pointless.
Yes, it just kind of
At no point was there a major plot point affected by the fire. At the beginning, they mentioned some of the choppers are down because of the smoke, but otherwise, or they're being used for evacuations elsewhere.
Well,
But
I
at no
might
point,
disagree with you there.
okay.
And here is why. So, with all these resources being allocated to support the forest fires, right?
Mhm.
That's less resources to find this missing person. So, in Jake Gyllenhaal's perspective in mind, he's been trying to, solve this, I guess, with
By
no
himself.
resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, it was kind of like a one-man show for him.
I mean, I can kind of see that point of view, but to be fair, for one missing person, LAPD is not going to throw out 3 to 5 choppers to look across
No,
the
no,
city
no,
for.
not at all. But he didn't even
Because
have a single one.
the thing is, like, even I think just the squad car itself, 1 or 2 squad cars is enough because it's not like he didn't know where they were. He had a general location.
True.
So I just felt like if the fire was going to be a bigger deal, it should have came up when it got more serious. It was only mentioned at the beginning when he initially started looking. All right, where's the van? Where's she? But toward the end, it was less because toward the end, it was never an issue about resources. It was always an issue of, well, what information do you got to go on?
Fair enough.
That was kind of it. Like when his sergeant was like, "All right, yeah, no problem. I'll send the car to the kid's place." It's then when he pushed, "Oh yeah, no, can you send another squad car to break into the husband's house?" Like, no, there's no warrant.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when he has an actual location, the highway patrol has no issue sending a few cars to go pick up the wife. So I just feel like, because look, on TV, and in the call center, yeah, it looks cool, it looks dramatic. It had no bearing on the plot. It could be a regular day in LA, and it really wouldn't have changed besides maybe throwing in a chopper for the initial search.
Yeah, you kind of have a point there.
And I'm just basing this off like, all right, the Danish film, I haven't watched it, but I assume
there's no forest fire.
There's no forest fire, I would assume. Like,
you never know.
That's true, maybe.
We don't know what's going on.
But and look, I don't want to be ragging on this movie too much. I did enjoy the watch. I did also enjoy that it wasn't super long because this easily could have been a movie that overstayed its welcome. I think a nice even 90 minutes was good.
Oh yeah.
Because I couldn't do 2.5 hours of this unless like he had to leave the building. He had to leave
absolutely
the building.
Not.
Yeah.
That would just be kind of like a pain in the ass to watch.
At that length, he would have to like just break all protocols that he hasn't broken already and just drive there himself.
Yeah, honestly, the way this character acts,
he'd be fired.
I'm actually impressed that he didn't go into his own car and try to find this fucking person himself.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's true. At this point, he's kind of an asshole to everyone there. Does not respect the person in charge there.
Yeah,
and it's like, and actually, that's another thing too, is because there was one point where his shift was over, and he wanted to stay on.
Yep.
So he could have. I guess his thing was like, if she's going to call the hotline again, he's got to be there to take the call. So if he goes out with little information and she calls again, he can't get it.
True.
And you can't just keep calling the husband because, as we saw, it kept going to voicemail at times.
Yeah. But also, if we look at a different point of view, this was his last attempt at doing a good deed before he most likely sees time behind bars or can't.
Well, see, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think, I think he knew he was going to get off. His partner's testimony was going to attest to that. The sergeant even felt he was going to get off just because even their conversations like, just put up with it one more day. You'll be back on the street in no time. And he seemed to go along with that. I think once the kids got involved, that there were kids involved, he started to break down and think about the kid he killed.
Yeah.
Because I don't think when he started his shift, he was like, all right, I'm going to get this done. Call my partner. I'm going to tell him to rip up that testimony he just made and just call it like how he saw it. If I go to jail, I go to jail. So clearly this changed him. But I would also say,
don't know really why though.
I think it's because of the kids. Because at this point, when he was dealing with just the wife, he did seem concerned. He did. But it was like, all right, trying like basic level help. Once there was like kids involved, he was like, all right, I'm going to send cops over. And I felt at that point he was doing anything he could to get it done. Because when it was just the wife, and I remember like them reading, like trying to get more information, like say yes or no for the car color, it was very by the book. He wasn't going out of his way to get her back. He was doing basic information, found the husband. But when the kids got involved, it's all right, I'm calling my sergeant, who I'm not really supposed to, calling the partner to break into the guy's place because there's kids involved. But I mean, you could mention this is a fair criticism that, like what you're saying, there's not a clear connection as to why. Like I'm just saying this because I just picked this up, but you're right. There's not a clear connection as to why this case with these kids caused him to do what he did at the end. Like it's a stressful situation. I can understand him breaking out in the bathroom, but then like
also like, there's one little plot detail that really doesn't do a damn fucking thing. His whole thing with the inhaler.
Yeah.
I feel
again,
like that, like
it's like the fire. It's there.
What is it? Yeah, it's there, but what does it have to do with? He's never in a situation where like that becomes like, oh shit, like he's might like some actual conflict. It's just there to.
Well, how about this for a no shit moment? What if the phone was ringing and he thinks it was her on it, but he started coughing so much that he couldn't pick up and had to use the inhaler, and by the time he finished, the call ended. He wasn't able to pick up. He'd be losing it. He'd be panicking. What if it was her?
True.
But there's no conflict. Yeah, you're right. It's just it was an inconvenient cough a few times while talking, but I think another thing too is the passage of time was done pretty poorly, I gotta say.
Yeah, you don't really know how many hours was he there.
I only noticed toward the end that it was like because he kept checking the phone. It was like 2 a.m.
Yep.
And then when he finished, when it was all over, it was 6 a.m. That's when he's making a call. So it's like that's a 4-hour gap where he didn't know what's happening with the husband, with the wife, or with the kids. And to go to your point, like maybe more character depth, I think they should have shown that there was that long. Because for us, it's 90 minutes in and out.
Yep.
But for 20, 30 of those minutes, it's actually a 4-hour period where he is just sitting there wondering when the next call is going to be and from who. And I can understand him freaking out, breaking down over that period of time. But the director really doesn't flesh that out.
Not at all, actually.
No. Which, I don't know, maybe they could have used that time to develop why he is changing his mind about the kid he shot. I don't know. Because it would be a perfect time, him thinking to himself, like, wow, I really killed that kid. Do I deserve to be back on the street?
Yeah, because like when you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing was trying to make it look good for the trial, right? It was all about him, essentially.
Oh yeah, at the beginning, wife, the ex-wife,
with the wife.
Like, can you be here? It'll look good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So why would this set of kids actually make him change his mind whatsoever? It wouldn't. If anything, it would only boost him in the other direction because it would just inflate his ego.
Or, maybe not even inflate his ego, but be like, look at all these incompetent people that were waiting for me to tell them what to do and get them information. I was able to help save these kids by just sitting here on the phone. Imagine all the work I can do if I'm on the street doing it.
Yeah.
They could even fix his resolve that no, I need to get this court case out of the way. I need to be back on the street so I can be there helping those kids, stopping that wife.
Yeah, this is all very accurate. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say, and I think you agree with me, it should have been fleshed out a lot better why he changed his mind.
Yes, yes, that is a weak spot of the movie.
But all in all, Tyler, what do you say? Would you recommend giving this movie a watch or no?
Well, it may surprise some listeners because if you've listened to all this so far, and you've heard me just kind of talk shit about the movie for most of the time, maybe a little shocking, but yes, I do recommend it. We do have issues. I have issues, but it's still a decent watch. And look,
It absolutely is.
some of the movies on Netflix are straight trash. Netflix produces a
Yes.
lot of trash these days. This is not one of them. And if you
No.
are a Jake Gyllenhaal fan, he kills it in this performance. It's a one man show, kind of. He does great. I just personally kind of would. This is a decent movie that could have been a great movie if they looked deeper into the character.
It's true. I'm to surprise everyone, not really. I'm gonna recommend this movie
What?
just because it's solid performances. Even though there's really not much that goes on in the movie. Like you wouldn't think it's exciting, but you gotta see it just for the performances. Like, yeah, there's issues with the movie, but when are you not gonna find issues with movies? No movie is perfect.
Sure.
So as always, we want to know what you guys thought about The Guilty. Are you planning on watching it? Let us know in the comments below. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. As always, thank you for listening.